plan is, just give you a little overview. We're going to start resting on our back for a little while and do like a body scan meditation. We're going to do a little breathing meditation. We're going to start with some gentle movement. We'll progress into slightly more intense movement. It won't get too intense. And then we'll slow back down and we'll end with a relaxation pose. So one of my favorite ways to start almost any yoga session, particularly if you've been working all day, is to rest on our back with the feet on the floor and the knees bent. So I'm going to suggest you take pretty much this exact shape. And what we're going to do is open the arms out to the side. Remember, you're standing on your feet. And deliberately center your head. Now I realize this position makes it a little challenging to simultaneously watch the screen and tune into your body. So in a moment, I'll just start giving, pretty clear verbal cues, which allow you to tune out from the screen for a little while, all right? And then tune back in as you need to. So please just take a moment and get centered. Once you feel like you've assumed a nice, comfortable, relaxing shape, hopefully just that begins to take a little load off, literally. Just not supporting your body, yet getting a nice angle for your spine, relaxing your neck and your shoulders and your back. This particular position for the knees and the feet is very unassuming on the back. And actually therapeutic in that it keeps the back in neutral. Please do center your head, and then let's let the eyes close. And with your eyes closed, obviously you can keep them softly open if you'd rather, but otherwise, with your eyes closed, simply take your awareness down into your feet. Now, there's not a right sensation to feel, but certainly you're getting some feedback. You can feel your feet on the ground. Probably feel the texture of the ground. You can feel if you're wearing socks or if your feet are bare. I can feel some wind between the toes. And you might feel distinct points of pressure. Weight in the heels, the weight in the pads of the feet, a little weight distributed through your toes. Just drop into that. So often we're up in our head for good reason. We need to be up there. But we don't want to live too far from our body. So this opening practice is embodiment. It's a body scan. It's a way to just tune in. Now take your awareness to the juncture between your feet and your shins, right at your ankles. And simply notice what you notice. Sometimes the messages, the signals are unclear. Sometimes it's a little hard to keep your focus. Sometimes it's very gratifying to just let the focus meander slowly through your body. And sometimes the sensations are pretty clear. So just moving up through your shins, 2 shin bones, and the calf muscles in the back. And again, just notice, just feel. And let's take that same process and experience whatever sensation is present in your knees right now. And then please take a moment and just be aware, notice, feel the thighs. Big femur bones, singular bones, big strong muscles that run from knees to hips. And feel where those legs merge into the hip sockets. Feel the back of your hips resting on your mat or on the ground. And take your awareness to the very southernmost part of your spinal column, where it fuses with the pelvis. Your coccyx, or your tailbone. Feel it. Now rising up from your tailbone, you've got the next section of your spine, shaped kind of like a triangle, flares out a little. That's your sacrum. And that's where most of us are going to feel a lot of weight. Notice how that feels. Please just stay there. Now, rising up from the sacrum, you've got the lumbar part of your spine, where there's a lot of energy happening, a lot of culmination of pressure. It's where we take a lot of support. And really just feel that area, your low back. Feel that area soften. Just if possible, see if that area can relax. You can get the feeling of letting go. If that doesn't manifest, then just let be. That's fine too. Now continuing through the body scan, the lumbar portion of your spine is below the ribs. So now bring your awareness to the part of your spine that merges with the rib cage. This is the biggest and longest part of your spine. It's called the thoracic spine. Feel it. And then lastly, through the spine at least, taking your awareness up to the top of the spine, which is the cervical spine, also colloquially known as the neck, all the way up to the back of the skull. And then letting your awareness come to the front of your face any way you can. Soften your eyes. For most of us, our eyes are just so busy all day, processing a massive amount of information. So just take a moment and soften the muscles around your eyes, relax the eyes themselves. And then I'm going to just presume, yet I'll mention it anyway. See that you have a very softly closed mouth. So there's very little tension in the jaw, yet the mouth is gently closed. That's going to allow us to segue into the next section. Feel breathing happening. In fact, take your hands and just rest them down on your belly. And feel the movement of air. The yogis use the word prana. Feel the movement of prana, of air, entering through your nose, getting filtered through the nasal cavity, moving through the back of the throat, and filling the lungs. Now, what your hands are likely to feel is the movement of your diaphragm. As the diaphragmatic musculature is below the lungs, and it's more or less the engine in your body. There are barometric pressures in the atmosphere that help, but in your body, those diaphragmatic muscles help you pretty much, they do the breathing. So you'll feel your belly, even though that's below your lungs. That's a good sign. Now for the last minute here, see if you can coax the breath into having 5 distinct qualities. Slow. Encourage the breath to not be too fast. Number 2, quiet. Now, there might be a very subtle sound, but for the most part, keep the breath pretty quiet. Number 3, see if you can manifest breath that feels deep as opposed to shallow. So that deep sensation is pretty much just tapping into belly breathing. Number 4, see if you can find some degree of regularity. Like you don't have a 10-second breath and a 2-second breath and a 13-second breath and a 6-second breath. You don't have to watch the clock, but just some degree of regularity. And quality number 5, I actually went over it earlier, is just that we're breathing through the nose. Nostril breathing confers so many advantages to the breather. It's better for your teeth. It's better for your breath. It's better because it filters impurities that the mouth might not. It slows the breathing down. It helps reinforce more diaphragmatic breath. We've evolved a massive amount of nasal cavity, I think for pretty good reason, to use it to breathe through. So in our final moments here, to recap in 5 words, the breathing is slow, quiet, deep, regular, nostril. Now from here, we're going to actually move a little bit, y'all, so you might want to just briefly tune into the screen. I do try to provide really clear oral cues though, verbal cues. So anyway, let's extend the arms down along our feet, toward the feet, and let the head just range left to right. Oh, yeah, that feels good. Hopefully everybody got settled there with that opening body scan and breath meditation. So please bring your head back to center. Now you're going to catch one leg, I'll cue the right one, and just hug that knee toward the chest and run the opposite leg straight down along the ground. And then let's set 2 flat feet on the floor and switch. Run the new leg in toward the chest and extend the new leg straight out along the ground. And let's keep this second leg in and add the first leg. So now we've got both legs flexed in. This is a pose called Apanasana. Apanasana is Sanskrit for what we're doing in this particular shape. So we're just hugging both knees in. And without losing hold of the knees, just kind of vacillate. One more forward, one more inward, one more forward, one more inward. A little bit like you're crawling, but from a belly up position. Okay? Then please hold the left knee stable right over your hip and let the right knee, therefore the right hip, circle, maybe 6 times clockwise and 5 to 10 times counterclockwise. And then please switch legs. So new leg gets stable, new leg gets circled. And lastly, circle in the opposite direction. All right. Please, everybody, rest 2 flat feet on the ground. Reach both arms up to the sky, to the ceiling. I've got sky above me. You might have ceiling, but, same idea. Reach your arms up. And then just any amount that your shoulders like, you'll feel a little stretch for most of us. Reach the arms all the way overhead. Shoulder flexion. And then slowly reach your arms all the way down, extending down towards your feet. So go up and over. And then all the way back down. Now 6 times in a row, link these directly to your breathing rhythm. So inhale through the up reach. Exhale through the down reach. 5 more. Inhale through the up. Exhale through the down. Inhale through the up. Exhale through the down. Last 3. Last 2. Uno más. And then release. All right. So now we're going to tie together the arm movement, the breathing rhythm, and the neck rotation. And then we'll get off our back soon. So that looks like this. Reach the right arm overhead. Turn your head to the left. Bring the right arm down as you center your head. Make sure that breath connection's there, which I'll explain on this one. So it's inhale, arm overhead, head away. Exhale, arm down, head to the center. Inhale, arm overhead, head turns opposite of arm. Exhale, arm goes down, head returns to center. 2 more. One more %. Alrighty. Last 2 moves from down here, everybody. Please extend both legs straight along the ground. And this is like not really a pose, it's more just an action. But a super effective and important action in all movement therapy, and just to have a happier low back. And also it's kind of important in a lot of yoga poses, and that is activating your glutes, your cheeks, your butt. So 10 to 20 times in a row. Squeeze your glutes really tight and then relax. Squeeze your glutes really tight and relax, and repeat. So you're just squeezing as tight as you can. It's actually a very safe movement to kind of execute fully on. Oh, man. If you've been sitting a lot of the day, which maybe you haven't been, if you've been teaching on your feet, but if you sit a lot during the day, then the glutes are pretty much by definition off during those hours. So we want to just turn them back on. Last couple. And then we'll do a little lifting, and then we'll get up. Okay. Next. Plant your feet flat on the ground. Squeeze your butt, which is a little different than when the legs are straight. Imagine your feet are pushing toward the front of your mat, and then lift up into a bridge. So now you want to really use those glutes to fire on their own, but also to locomote and to lift some weight. Down you come. And up you come. So try that for about a minute, whether you do 6 slowly or 12 quickly. This is called bridge pose. One of my absolute favorite go-to yoga poses for all levels of competency. I return to this pose again and again after 25 years of teaching yoga and practicing. But I'd introduce it to someone doing yoga for the first time. It's absolutely just a great functional tool. Last 2. Oh, last one. All right, everybody, let's come on down. So to transition, we're going to hug the knees toward the chest. We're going to roll up the shoulders and head. And then we're going to rock a little. until we come all the way up. All right. So from here, I know depending on where you're practicing in your house, sometimes getting on the knees is a little uncomfortable. So you can always double or triple up your mat, like right where your knees are. I've obviously got some grass here, so it's a little easier to contend with. But please, everybody, for at least about 2 or 3 minutes, come to an all fours shape. So this is like our basic quadruped shape here. Knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders, head in neutral. Very similar actually to the shape we were in belly up, but just in opposite. Now, pose 1 from here. Move your spine north and south. Just push forward, and the real sweet spot is this pulling backward. So you are trying to keep your spine neutral, like it were just sliding across a table. Not trying to round and arch for this one, but just keeping your spine in the shape of a table, but pushing that table forward or pulling the table backward. Push, pull, push, pull. Last 2. Last one. Okay. Next, come back to center. If you've done yoga before, you've probably hit a version of this at some point. So next move, you want to round up with your spine, but notice the head drops and the tail kind of tucks under. And you're taking the shape of, like a cat, stretching or getting a little bit angry. Then allow the belly and the glutes to soften. Turn up your tail and draw your chest forward. So, if I were a dog at the dog park, I would be, my tail would be up. This would be a very, friendly signal. And then just go back and forth. It is called dog tilt, so I'm not randomly making the reference to a dog there. Now, if you want to synchronize these with breathing, because obviously you're breathing, but it might not be synchronized, you can round up on an exhale and arch, extend on an inhale. So the rounding is strong, it's muscular, it's a little bit tight in the glutes, in the belly, the back spread out. The arch, totally different kind of character. Last one. Woo, right. Next, everybody, we're going to transition to kneeling and then come all the way up to standing. All right. All right, so once everybody's up, this guy is so nice for your neck, for your forearm, for your shoulder, and also if you have any carpal tunnel related issues. I mean, obviously you've got to sort that out with a trained therapist, but this is a move that PTs also do, physical therapists. So anyway, let's try the following. Extend one arm open out to the side. I've got my right arm. Palm up. Then I'm going to allow, and I want you to allow, it's for you, the head to tilt in that direction. Oh! You'll probably feel some pretty strong stretch over here. Next, center the head and fold the arm in and up, and then let the head tilt away from the arm. So now we've got the head, for me, going left toward the relaxed arm, away from the lifted. Let's try about 5 or 6 more. So an open arm with an open palm, tilt that away. Oh, and then closed palm, lifted arm, tilt away. That's a pretty sweet stretch, y'all. It's kind of odd how, tension throughout the day, however it comes at us mentally or physically, does kind of have a physical correlate somewhere, Maybe the body gets tense, maybe the psyche gets tense. And, we've got to have some outlet to deal. And this one's a pretty trusted 2,000-year-old, universally practiced outlet. Oh my God. I do that pose a lot and it still feels amazing. New side, everybody. So you got an extended arm. Hand is supinated. That means the palm is up. Release the head toward. Neutralize the head. Fold in the arm. Head tilts away. Toward the open palm. Away from the lifted arm. Oh, goodness. Two more. Last one. Oh, goodness. Okay. Coming back to center. And just one more move here from center. Simply swing your arms forward and backward, with the primary emphasis being on backward. So this isn't really about trying to create a perfect pendulum. It's just like get the arms moving, open up the chest a little bit, try to find some pretty good posture in your trunk. But if we are on the pendulum idea, you want to try to find a fairly equal amount of backswing to forward swing. And if you don't really put the effort in the backswing, it'll turn out like this. Barely backward and lots of forward. So let's try to do mostly backward and just a little bit of forward. About 20 more swings. Last few swings. All right. Awesome. Nice, y'all. Next. You want to arrange yourself so you can take advantage of the length of your mat. We're going to come to one end of it. Take the hands on your trunk, on your thighs. Assume they'll reach beyond your trunk. And then simply flex, roll your head downward. Flex and roll your shoulders downward. Gently flex and roll your spinal column downward. And your feet are straight ahead. When you get to the bottom, your hands might be at your feet. Your hands might be at your shins. Maybe you're very flexible and your elbows are on the ground. That's unlikely, but who knows? Now from here, this takes a little more strength. Walk out to a plank position, which is the top of a classical push-up. So you're literally walking with the hands. Assume a plank position, which is basically that neutral tabletop shape, but without the aid of knee support. If you feel like you want a little more of an energetic practice,
Insert 5 push-ups right here. And continue on. If you need to slow it down a little, come back to knees on the ground. If you want that middle way, stay in plank. And then wherever you were in that sequence, just trying to offer a little differentiation there. Walk the hands toward the feet. Basically put it all in reverse. Walk the hands up your feet, up your shins, up your knees, up the thighs. And let's try that one more time. This time, please reach your arms out and up. Slowly hinge, fold all the way downward. Little by little, walk out to a plank position. Once you've assumed the plank position, slow it down a little bit with knees on the ground, so we're back to tabletop. Keep the plank alive for 3 or 4 breaths, or the progression, add 5 push-ups. Okay? I just chose to stay in plank. Last time, walk the hands toward the feet. Walk the hands up, the feet up, the shins up, the knees up, the thighs. Oh. We're going to do one more entry in, but then we're going to change things up. Last fold. Last walkout. Let's all try to assume plank. And this time walk your feet in toward your hands. And last one, walk your feet away from your hands. And come all the way up into downward facing dog, which is basically an upside down letter V or an A frame. 5 big breaths, everybody. Push the ground. Lift your tail, relax your head, and breathe. Now to transition, you're going to lift one leg up, right in line with your tail. This is challenging if you're brand new. You're going to bend the knee, yeah, and then take one big giant step forward. And now we're in a pose called the lunge, which is classic in yoga and outside of yoga. Like a runner in the gates. And just be here in the lunge, everybody, 2 or 3 breaths. Now from here, we're going to step back to downward facing dog. Let's hike up your tail like we did in the dog tilt, but it's a stronger version. And just one more go. Lift up the left leg this time. Bend the knee. Take one big, huge step, although you might have to amend it. Foot forward. Be in a lunge. 3 breaths. One more big breath here, everybody. Now, instead of stepping to dog, we're going back to plank. And then we're going to rest on the belly. So to be clear, we've come down, and now we're resting on the belly. Now, once you get down to your belly, everybody, please prop up your forearms. Take your feet about as wide as your hips. And assume the shape of like the Sphinx. Please tuck under your toes. Now you're going to keep your hips on the ground. Your pubic bones will be on your mat, but lift up your thighs. So right now my knees and my quads are off the ground. Hopefully you can see it's a little challenging. and then thud, they go back to the floor. So how high do they lift? I mean, basically just, you know, half the height of my foot. Just that little squeeze, back down, squeeze, back down, squeeze, back down. Last 5. You should feel the muscles all around your kneecap stabilize for a moment. This is good quad development. Just good for motor control. All right, everybody, and then release that. Next, from our belly, we're gonna reach one arm forward like a superhero. Reach the other arm back toward your tail. Bend the leg that the hand is closest to, and catch hold. Now, for whatever reason you feel like this is too much in your low back, I'm going to encourage you to add more belly strength and maybe even squeeze the glute a little bit. In Sanskrit, this is called Salamba Ekapada Dhanurasana, which means a supported one-legged bow pose. Okay, everybody, let's release and switch. Oh my God. All you linguists out there, I'm sure know English is an Indo. Oh. The popo, the water popo are coming. Look out. Okay. Oh. Hopefully they're not coming from me. I'm filming without a permit. All right. I think it's okay. So, anyway, Indo-European language, the Indo part is Sanskrit. So we've got a few words actually that kind of lean into some old Sanskrit terms. Let's release that half bow. Oh. And please gently, gently shimmy your way back to all fours. Sit your bottom down on your heels. And relax your head down toward the floor. And just follow about 5 breaths here. Now. All right. Exciting action, boat action behind us, y'all. So, please come to a comfortable seat. We're obviously winding down. You're going to take, this probably all seems opposite, but, and I often cue mirrored, but I'm just cueing with my actual sides that I'm using. So right hand is going over to left knee. That creates a little bit of a twist, not a ton. Then left arm's gonna rise up along the ear. Oh my goodness, that feels so good. And then I'm gonna do a sideways bend away from this lifted arm. So I don't want to release my glute from the ground because then I'd probably just tip over. But I actually want it pressing down because that's part of what's feeding the stretch. So you've got this long muscle in your back called the quadratus lumborum, the QL, and this addresses the QL. One more big breath here. Oh my goodness, that feels nice. Please release, switch. So new hand, for me the left, catches right knee. That does put a little tiny twist in the body. Right arm rises. The main emphasis of the movement is sideways bending, and twisting is kind of the secondary element. Now, ultimately, you could look straight ahead, especially if you need to consult the screen, but it's perfectly fine if your neck is okay with it to look up or to even look down. And ideally, you don't hold your breath. Okay. And then please come back. Oh, and then switch the cross of the legs. Oh, man. So awesome, like dealing with, you teachers, depending on, how young you teach. I know, summoning kids to the carpet back in the day. Let's sit crisscross applesauce. That's the current, nomenclature. Back when I was in grade school, they actually just said, let's sit Indian style. Which is kind of weird, but kind of cool, because it really is a traditional yoga pose. And yoga comes from India. So, to formalize it, this position is called Sukhasana. Sukha means happy, easy, and peaceful. So literally translated, this shape is happy, easy, peaceful pose. Before we rest on our back, let's pause here in the happy, easy, peaceful pose. Reconnect to breathing. And try a balancing breathing practice. Super simple. Where while you breathe, privately and quietly, count 5 on your inhale, count 5 on your exhale. Please try. Little bonus, little extra credit if you were able to tap into the qualities of breathing that we worked on in the very beginning of the session. Bonus, if you all can recount all 5 qualities. I wish I could hear mics right now. Please don't turn them on because I can't hear anyway. But recap, I bet most of you are remembering. Slow, quiet, deep, regular, through the nose. Now, before we rest, our final little breath meditation. This is one I think you can even share with kiddos. We're going to repeat the 5x5 breath meditation. 5 on the in, 5 on the out, but we'll do it exactly 5 times. So 5x5 by 5. Please start. How do you know you're breathing in for a 5 count and breathing out for a 5 count? You're counting. It's not arbitrary.
Once you've done that last 5 by 5 by 5, let's finish by leaning into longer exhales. You don't have to count, but whatever your inhale is, let your exhale be a little longer. And finally, to wrap, let's come into Shavasana, which is the corpse pose. We will assume it for about 3 to 4 minutes, as promised. Everyone will get out on time. Corpse pose is totally let go. I mean, we've done some relaxation stuff, but in the beginning, we were very on top of body scanning. We're kind of on top of breathing meditation. For corpse, just completely let go. Worst case scenario, you fall asleep. But that's cool because you totally let go. Right? So, I know the conditions you're in may not allow for just the perfect relaxation setting. But maybe this is inspiring. This is a very peaceful scene right here. And we will all assume about 3 minutes of just completely letting go.
Just begin to tune back into sounds. Sounds coming from, if you're in Long Beach, sounds from your immediate environment, natural sounds, mechanical sounds. And also tune into the sensation of breathing. It's a pretty safe presumption we were all breathing that whole time, and it's also highly likely most of us weren't fully aware of breathing most of that time. We can kind of choose to take our awareness there. And finally, just begin to move a little, maybe wiggling fingers and toes, circling around the ankles and the wrists. And finally, drawing the knees toward the chest, which we're revisiting. Letting the shoulders and head just kind of roll up off the ground a little bit. And either rolling to one side or rocking up. So please take your time, but also, we're out of time. So go ahead and make your way to this Sukhasana seat one last time. And good chance you're practicing all alone at home, maybe with a loved one there at home. But we do have a community of folks all gathered at the same moment, right here, right now. So maybe just send out a little thanks to all of them for being here, gathering. And I thank you all for your presence and your attention. Namaste.